What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Pumphouse Cove. Let's fish that. Let's start by explaining where exactly I am. Now, a couple of miles south from 33 Hole, you will find Sunset Overlook. That is where you park, and from there you can take one of these paths, and that's going to lead you all the way down to the water. Now, these paths do split up, giving you access to a lot more different coves, but we are going to the cove on this side. That down there, that is Pumphouse Cove. That's where we're heading today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pumphouse Cove. This entire cove out there, this is the Pumphouse Cove. It forms a bay on the side of the actual lake, which is behind the hill we see there. I wanted to show you guys Pumphouse Cove, but this is actually not the ideal time of year to fish out here. Pumphouse Cove, of course, is known for having big smallmouth and largemouth. Lots of cliffs and structure for the fish to hide in, so a great place to fish during spring and in summer. At the moment, of course, the water temperature is still quite low. Most of the bass will still be out on points on the main lake, not yet coming into the coves like this. But as I mentioned in last week's video, I've been seeing some carp jumping. That means they're preparing for their mating season. Once you see carp jumping out of the water like that, that means they are signaling to other carp that this is my spot. That's why they jump out of the water. Seeing that type of activity means that the carp are up shallow. So my main focus for today is going to be using my carp setup out there, seeing if maybe we can get some carp. I am, of course, going to be throwing around some lures to see if we can perhaps find some bass up shallow. But like I mentioned, it's not an ideal time to be finding bass around here yet. But I wanted to show you this location, as I believe it's a great place to come to do some summertime fishing. Just remember to bring water when hiking all the way out here. This cove has some pretty unique features. We have some shallow banks, and then it drops off into deep water. And it really drops off into very deep water. It is off into these deep water on these cliffs that the bass love to hide during summer. Of course, we have some grass and structures and rocks all over this little island that I'm standing on at the moment. There's a second one out here in the water. During the summer months, that one is exposed. Right now it's underwater, but there's another little island going in here, and then out into the deep lake with a deep channel coming in, running into here all the way back. During the summer months, when the water is lower as well, you can actually walk around this point. At the moment you have to climb the little mountain if you want to get to the other side, but when the water levels drop, there's a little walkway all around. So I've got quite a few different lures out here with me today that I want to be throwing around, seeing if there's some bass or anything. I'm going to try out different lures. Once I get tired of throwing stuff around, I'll probably use my second rod with some baits out there to see if there's any other fish out there we can get, perhaps some bluegill or something. For now, I'm going to start off with a little football jig with a little craw on there. Of course, as the water is warming up, it's also spawn season for some craws. So I'm thinking if there's any bass down at the bottom, Maybe they'll be willing to go for some craw imitations. Of course, the last time that I used this little reel of mine, I was throwing around some swim baits, so naturally I didn't tweak the settings on this. That's why we kind of got a little crow's nest going on. There we go, guys. We got a fish on. This fish is running into all sorts of bushes, but at least we have a fish for today. Nice dark carp. These guys are up shallow, getting ready for the spawn, so they're fattening up before the spawn. You'll see them jumping around in the water, marking their territory. While they're looking for territories, they will still be feeding, but once they start breeding, they won't be feeding anymore. Still some fight left in this one. Not wanting to give up without a fight. That's why it's important to have your drag loose if they make these runs. If your drag is not loose enough, the hooks will tear out. And there we go, guys. Nice fat belly on this one. Let's quickly get him off the hook. So we definitely want to support the body weight of this fish. Having a belly like that, don't know if it's a male or a female. Males tend to have red tails, so this might be a female. So we need to support the body. If there's any eggs in there, we don't want to damage the fish, being heavy at the moment. But there we go, first fish landed for today. Lovely little carp. Let's get him back into the water. strong kick, and there it goes. Water is super clear. You can see the fish swimming around the bush, all happy, going back to some deeper water. This sandstone substrate is quite difficult to get a pen in. I thought it was deep enough, but it wasn't. That's why that fish took the entire rod into the water, because this was not in deep enough, so I need to make a different hole. And we lost both our hooks. So I just managed to lose that fish. It would have been our second carp for today. That fish seemed to have got wrapped around some structure or something. So I lost both the hooks, as well as the line was pretty frayed. I had to cut off a few feet of line as well, telling me that it wrapped around something. And that's why I lost that fish. But hey, you win some, you lose some, no big deal. As far as other fishing has gone, had quite a lot of lures that I threw around. Didn't manage to get any follows or any bites on those, so I packed that away. I've been using my second rod back there with some anchovies. Haven't had any hits on them. Swapped out now to some night crawlers. We'll see maybe some catfish or some bluegill or something. But at the moment it seems like the carp are the only ones willing to go for my baits. That's why we rebaited again. We'll see, maybe we get some more fish. Alright guys, this place is kind of amazing. It's very pretty out here. But just to catch you up on what's been happening out here, I've now lost a second fish. This time I lost the little feeder with that fish. So I moved spots. I'm now on the hill. Much better vantage point. You can actually see all the structure in the water. Don't know why I haven't thought about that earlier. Having succeeded in catching that one fish, I'm starting to think that maybe I should try one of the other coves as well. Remember, there are a few of them that you can access from this parking location. Or maybe I should take some of the anchovies and night crawlers I have. They're not going to last out in the heat, so maybe I need to take them and go to a spot where I know there are fish currently, to maybe try and use those baits. But this really is a pretty location, definitely a spot that I will try again in spring or in summer. I think that's where I'm going to end this video. I want to thank you guys for watching and following me out here. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button, joining my community. If you enjoyed the video, give me a little thumbs up. Feel free to ask any questions down in the comments. If you fished in this location before and have caught some fish here, please go down in the comments and tell us what sort of fish you found in these waters. And the only thing left to do is to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.